Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the anime Ronin Warriors. Now, this is one also under, Samurai Troopers. This was a very formative series for me when I was younger. So much so that I would, get the toys for them, because they had pretty cool toys. There was things that they would do in elementary school where I would do creative writing, pretty much doing fan fiction with my own kind of stories with this kind of concept. I'd also do the same kind of stuff with Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball held up better than this. Going through this again was not a good experience. You know when nostalgia's like, oh, this was pretty cool, and then you go through it and it's like, holy fucking shit. What the fuck has happened? This was big because it was kind of like, oh, okay, Power Rangers and shit. They had kind of elemental kind of armor and stuff, and it was really awesome. I'd be like, Rio, flare up now and everything like that. That's my favorite color. I was like, oh, cool, let's kind of see what's going on with this. And, whoo boy. So this is the complete collection with 39 TV episodes and all 3 OVA series, and oh my god, I loved this thing as a kid. And I would not recommend this to anyone now. Now, that's mainly because it has gotten, it's, sure, there's a multitude of factors, but it really gets more into the kind of technical aspects and then getting into the OVA series, and especially the last one. Now, armor design and everything is really kind of cool. Also in the last OVA series, The Message. But we pretty much just do the same thing. We get introduced to the warriors. We don't even understand how they kind of get their kind of armor or anything. That's never really explained. And then we're fighting Talpa. They get scattered to all these places that for some reason amp up their powers. And Talpa is trying to pretty much get his armor set back. And then he's pretty much trying to do the same thing again in the second half of the series, even though we've got kind of filler shit where other kind of ones pop up, but not really. It's really kind of strange. So, what really gets kind of weird is that we learned throughout the series that the 5 armors that our Ronin warriors have, and the 4 that the warlords have, are taken from Talpa's armor. We had the ancient one fight him, kick his ass, take his armor, chop that shit up, and pretty much have them done to certain kind of virtues and whatnot. Then we also get introduced to the Inferno armor, which evidently was worn by someone else, but doesn't make sense of why it would just suddenly become part of, the Ronin's armors that they can summon. And then we get introduced in the second OVA series to the Black Inferno armor, which is outside of the realm of influence. It's really kind of weird how that shit kind of pops up and does these kind of things. Let me get to my notes. So, what really starts getting weird is the technical kind of aspects. Never mind that the story is kind of loosey-goosey and all over the place on certain kind of things, especially when you get to the end. But we get wrong color armor on Kento. We've got Ryu having Inferno swords before getting them in a transformation scene. Then Ryu fixing the swords, have them out and then on his back. Weird kind of thing is that Talpa's got knee knives. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's like, what the fuck? We've got different accents that sounds like the same voice actor trying to kind of differentiate themselves, which I understand, but it's like, whoa. Why do they have all these different kind of accents? Let's see, did that. Interesting thing is that it was when they were invading Talpa's dimension domain, it kind of reminded me of Bleach invading the Soul Society. It's like, oh, that's kind of interesting kind of there. Don't know why the warlords keep getting surprised that Talpa keeps fucking betraying them. And White Blaze's roar is really weird. It's like, show me a tiger roar. That's what you think of, okay. The retconning. And then we get that. We'll get to that when we get to it. Alright. So, first bit is Talpa trying to invade the mortal world, pretty much taking over a city, and our Ronin warriors are then scattered, then trying to pretty much get themselves in tune with their armor to then fight his ass. And that's pretty much what we do for most of the time. They get put into kind of places of power. They fight a warlord and either like kick his ass and then move along. We get Mia and Uli pretty much just tagging along. The kid just needs to be a kid, and it's like, all right, like it's just a person who's writing an 8-year-old and be like, I think this is what an 8-year-old's like. It's like, okay, 8-year-olds can do this kind of shit, but just flesh them the fuck out, please. We also get that Anubis is one that is like turned from the dark side, but they still get pretty much dragged into Talpa's whole kind of thing before our Ronin summon the Inferno armor, and Ryu is the one that controls that armor during that kind of sequence and banishes Talpa like a motherfucker. Then the Ronins are like, how do we do this kind of stuff? What are we doing now? And then this other dude just pops up and is like, yeah, I'm going to use this Inferno armor. And the thing is, Ryu breaks his swords because they can't handle the power of the Inferno armor. And then he fights this other kind of sword dude and gets his swords before we then get into the point where Talpa pretty much jacks the Ronin warriors again. And then Ryu pretty much pops in and just goes into the dimension. We also get introduced to one of the Ancient One's last surviving descendant people kind of thing. She gets pretty much turned into the new Ancient after Anubis pretty much sacrifices himself and gives her his armor. And the warlords help them kind of defeat Talpa. And that is pretty much the end of that. I know you're like, what the fuck? You're not really missing much because the thing is, on the technical levels, they reuse scenes constantly. It's not just the technical errors of like things missing or popping up. And I'm good with the transformation sequence, but they just keep using and speeding up, or sometimes just doing it to lengthen and pad out an episode. It's not like Sailor Moon might have done that with the transformation scene, but it was hype enough where it's like, all right, it didn't feel like what it was done here. And then the action in this. Okay. This is like an action anime. Shounen anime. Fighting. Wah wah. The amount of frames and animations that were reused and how characters were not really usually in scenes where they're fighting much boggled my fucking mind. To where I was so goddamn bored. I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna take one of the warlords and have them do their attack, and then we're gonna have another thing of like either the Ronin jumping out of the way or whatnot, or insert one scene that they've already kind of made and shuffle it around. Oh, they're doing the jumpy thing. Oh, and the thing is, it's the same fucking jumpy thing. It's the same jumpy fucking scene. It's like, this is like, oh my god. I don't mind economic use of your assets, okay? But when it got to this, I was like bored as fucking shit. I'm like, the action scenes weren't able to really pull you in like One Piece or Dragon Ball or Bleach or Naruto or fuck any fucking other one. Oh god, all I was like is like, alright, I'm seeing the same scenes. And it would be funny because we'd be in different kind of places. It's like, oh yeah, I saw this scene this episode or that episode. It's like, alright. It really affected me. I'm like, I've never had this happen in an anime before. There might be certain kind of reuse of certain kind of attacks or whatnot, but sometimes it's at least just kind of freshened up a little bit where you at least get the background. It's like, oh, okay, it's not just Luffy throwing a gum pistol and you can't tell where the fuck he's at. Like, you could tell normally that he's at least in the same fucking arc. Like, you could tell the difference between one from a Wano and one from an East Blue. This, I could go through the whole thing and be like, there's nothing here to showcase where these motherfuckers are at. So, just, I've never seen this happen. Like, when people talk about acid flips, asset flips. Very different than an acid flip. Even though that sounds like a weird ass kind of one. I've never seen an anime like this with it, and it was one that I held with high esteem and regard. I liked the camaraderie of the heroes and sometimes the fighting and everything that would kind of happen between them. We get Sai and Kento having more of a kind of fighting kind of thing as not wanting to fight anymore. Rowan trying to hold the group together on certain kind of things. Sage just being the kind of hair flip pretty boy sometimes, but actually thinking of certain kind of things. And Ryu, of course, being the wildfire motherfucker. It was just like, oh god, this is kind of basic. And even more basic than I thought as I was going through. It's like, wow, they just follow the same kind of thing. We're still doing the same thing. I don't know why it was as long as it was. You could have just ended it after the first arc and be like, we're done. It's like, alright. And then the OVAs. They're kind of weird. First one deals with the sorcerer that pretty much somehow hijacks Sage and utilizes the armor that he has to like start killing people. And then we pretty much get this girl that's introduced to the group. Like the group goes from Japan to New York and then to Los Angeles and has to fight that motherfucker. And this girl pretty much just gets auto-nuked by that point. It's like, oh god, she's dead. Then we get the whole Black Inferno armor where they go to Africa and it was pretty much wanting to create a like the armor was possessing this like warrior dude and pretty much trying to get the Ronin warriors to get taken over by their armors, fighting lust and just fight, which could destroy the universe. I was just like, okay. Makala. They're like, let's not trust our armor. Which then leads to the worst OVA. Message. Holy fucking shit. My friends and everyone involved. Holy fuck. Oh my god. I wouldn't recommend this at all. I mean, it's got some of the coolest, like, they somehow create new Ronin armor. That's got really cool design and more modeled off old-time kind of style samurai. But if it took the whole thing of what I had pretty much been jocking on for the main series and mainly just voiceovers, clip shows of shit we've already seen while just inserting this one chick that is like, we need to do shit with this armor because it's from Talpa. It's like, alright. Like, this Suzanagi is like bereft and wants the Inferno armor to end her ass. It's like, alright, but that doesn't happen. They get their new armor and she kind of just goes away? She wants to remove all sorrow from the world. But that would remove all the good things as well. As long as their hearts are filled with love, they will know their spirits will dispel the negative influences and guide them towards the path of righteousness. And we see Uli in junior high winning a kendo tournament. And that the Ronins guided her back to the light. It's like, alright, what the fuck is going on here? Now, it's pretty much saying that the Ronin warriors wanted the power and not really caring for each other. And I don't mind them examining the PTSD that they've had from fighting these weird, crazy-ass things, but it's not executed well. I don't know how Sai knew Suzanagi's name, and it kind of reminds me of Ayn Rand in a bad way with, like, the Galt monologue, where it's like, holy fucking shit, what the fuck is going on with all this? Like, I understand what they were attempting to do, but it just did not hit with me at all. I'm like, and I don't mind not having an action kind of thing going on with this. Them kind of exploring what if they want to be Ronin warriors, the the consequences of what they've done and what's happened to them. Cool, fine. I'm okay with that. When you just barely introduce new animation and just clip show shit I have already seen from this already, what the fuck? This was a bad one for me. Like, sometimes there's stuff that you revisit from your childhood, and I mean, you get a little kind of shit where you're like, okay, that's kind of stupid, haha, alright. But this was like a big one that like got me into anime, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot worse than I thought. Even to the technical kind of aspects of reusing scenes constantly, which drastically affect how enjoyable the action scenes are. Where you're like, okay, I don't know if I'm seeing a scene that I'd seen pretty much in the first episode, or for the last episode. It's like, oh god. And the only one that gets a really interesting arc is Anubis, where he goes from being one of Talpa's warlords to kind of going along the path of the Ancient and then getting back into the armor and sacrificing himself to get the mind-controlled lady pretty much free. And it's just, wow. It was a hit, and it's like, god damn. So I would not recommend this to anyone, actually. And that's a hard thing for me to say. It's like, this was a thing that's like, yeah, I got the toys, I did stories and shit, and then I'm like, wow, there's better anime out there, better use of your time. I really, like, I am glad that I looked back at it to be like, this held something for me. And at the time, I can understand why. Because it was like another kind of Power Rangers thing. It was kind of different with the kind of Ronin warrior armor and stuff. Interesting attacks, names and shit. But then when you're like, oh, it's just the same kind of thing. This stuff doesn't make any sense. Why are we doing this shit again? What the fuck? And then I had never really, I don't think, seen the OVAs. So that was a kind of trip. The first one is the least bad one, and then the last one is just a waste of time to me. Complete on. I don't even know how it got greenlit when it was just clip shows and voiceovers. It's like, what happened here? So, those are my opinions on the anime. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.